Hello, beautiful witches. This is Dawn. Thank you so much for stopping by. I wanted to talk to you about roles that we play because this can have a huge effect on our magical practice. But it also is a big part of shadow work. So the roles that we play are like mother, daughter, sister, brother, sibling, co-worker, boss, nurse, a police officer. So all of these are roles that we play in our lives. And then there's others that are more magical, which could be like drawing down the moon, where you embody the moon, the spirit of the moon. So you're playing a role in being a vessel for the energy and the spirit that is in the moon. You're bringing it into your body. So embodying the goddess is another role that we could play. What I have done over the years is find somebody that I feel I need to be more like. Is that the right word? That I want to be more like. Somebody that is lots of self-confidence, and is very successful in the areas that I want to be successful in. And then I can play the role of being as successful as that person. So there are different ways of playing these roles. Some, most, if not all, are unconscious, unless we consciously make an effort to step into a role. You can step into the role of caretaker for your elderly parents, or for, having children, and then you step into the role of mother or father. The important thing to understand about roles is that they are molded and shaped in us through childhood, through our looking up to our caretakers. Now, this is a very instinctual thing. This is a very animal thing. If you look at nature, the parents will teach the children how to function so that they stay safe in the world, how to get food, how to hide from predators, how to reproduce and protect their own children. And a lot of it is instinctual. A lot of it is taught to their children. So we look up to our caretakers. And if you kind of, see if you can get yourself into that 2-year-old body and look up at your parents, your caretakers. Close your eyes and just kind of visualize your caretaker standing before you, and you are about 2 years old. They're huge, aren't they? They're gods. And as children, we don't know any better. They are everything to us. And that's how nature creates it, because you as a baby need to learn everything you can to survive. It's a survival mechanism. So you need to learn everything you can from your caretakers, and you cannot question them because you have no reference. You're not old enough to have any experience whatsoever to say, hey, I don't know about this. You're 2. You don't know any better. So you absorb everything you see with mom and dad. So if dad comes home drunk, mom withdraws, you as a 2-year-old see that. So that any kind of maybe conflict or something, you learn to withdraw, because that is a survival mechanism. And that's what you learned from your parents. So say you're in a family where you are the oldest, and it tends to be that the oldest takes care of the family if there's an imbalance. The oldest has to grow up very quickly, and the oldest has to make sure that the siblings get to bed and do their homework and are fed if the caretakers are incapacitated. So if somebody's a drunk and the other person is working, 2 jobs to support the family to make sure there's food on the table, then, the firstborn is going to have to step in. I know a lot of my students end up being one of these. In research, it's most every single firstborn is a perfectionist and is had to grow up quickly because they tend to step into this role. Anyway, the roles that we play is very important because sometimes we play victim. If you know anything about archetypes, I don't, so I'm not going to go too deep in this, but it's fascinating how we will step into this archetypal energy mindset and function there. And these are roles that we play as well. And many of them are subconscious. So shadow work helps us to bring it up to the surface so that we can connect the dots and realize, oh, hey, I learned that from my mother, or I learned that from my grandmother, whatever it may be. And then you can connect the dots and say, well, this isn't really me. So you can make a conscious choice not to behave that way. And it's difficult because we're taught that this is the way you stay safe. That's how our subconscious mind understands it. And so the ego jumps into the driver's seat and says, you need to protect yourself, so act this way. And of course, this happens subconsciously, so you're unaware of it. But with shadow work, you can be aware of it. And then you can decide how you want to behave and how you want to respond to somebody. So in magic, a lot of times we can step into a role, if you will, or a mindset or an archetype, and play that role in a ritual for magical working. And so that is also fascinating. And this is more of a conscious effort, a conscious choice rather than subconscious, unless you learn it to the point where it becomes subconscious. Where we can run amok with playing roles is being, spiritual and a little out there for the normal people. They get a little bit scared. So a lot of times in the teenage years, we act in these roles in order to test them out. Is this what I want to do? So you might dress goth. You might dress in a way that expresses what you're feeling. So like the goth kids tend to be a little bit more emotional maybe. And that is how they're expressing how they feel. Somebody else might dress more sophisticated, more, cheerleader-like. And they're pursuing more of, that kind of, trying to get into that kind of group, the popular kids, and be revered and be, popular and accepted. So we act out these roles during adolescence to kind of figure out who we are and what we want to do in life and what kind of role or identity do I want to have as an adult. So sometimes that can get a little far out there, but these are roles that we play. So when a person says, oh, I'm a pipe fitter, I'm an electrician, I'm a gardener, these are roles that we play, but we often end up identifying as those roles. And that's where we can get into trouble. Or not necessarily trouble, but we lose sight of who we really are because we're trying so hard to be a successful lawyer or a successful nurse. We forget that we're not those roles. We're just playing those roles. Artists, I've heard them say, this is me. My art is me. And that's not true. You're playing the role of an artist. And I know a lot are emotionally attached to their art, and that's a beautiful thing. But what I'm trying to get to is the higher picture. So the higher picture is you are a beautiful soul. You are a spirit being. You are a God in a physical body. And that is perfect. Yes, we make what we call mistakes, but they're not really mistakes. These are experiences we feel, we believe we need to have for some reason. And oftentimes we will create those situations so we do experience those things for whatever reason. Maybe we feel we need to learn a lesson. Maybe we're punishing ourselves. Maybe we are trying to gain a level of perfection for something. And so we will play a role in order to create situations that will help us experience and learn from them. Really, it's about surfacing the fact that you are, in your conscious mind, recognize that you are a God, a deity in your physical body. And if you're wondering, this is in the Bible, in the Old Testament and the New Testament. Then the Old Testament says that actually calls us humans gods. You are gods. Ye are gods. And then the New Testament, Jesus said, don't you know you are gods? So, I mean, we are deity in the flesh. I know some people, especially Christians, they take that to mean that we have dominion over the earth. And that's why we are gods. I don't truly believe that. I believe we are here as gods to become one with nature. And as we move more into nature and understand that we are one with nature, we become more powerful. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to say about that. Okay, take 2 on the ending. Somehow I lost the end of the video, okay? Okay, so what I wanted to tell you is to write down the roles that you play in your journal and write about where you learn to act that way. Where did you learn to behave that way? Who taught you? Not to find out whose fault it is, because that's not the point here. The point here is to be able to connect the dots, so you recognize that you are jumping into one of these roles, and you can stop yourself and say, do I really want to behave this way? Do I really want to respond this way? That gives you more power and control over your behavior, and you can decide how you want to respond. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your comments, and do something today that brings you joy and makes you feel good. I love you all, and until next time, blessed be.